Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Well, tomorrow is actually the Oslo Diamond League. So yeah, as I did say, track action is coming through thick and heavy, meet after meet after meet. So we have to get those results here, plus those previews out and everything going tracky. So we can't sit and dwell and past results. We got to move forward and we got to move forward quickly. So I see some of y'all expecting me to dwell on certain events, guys. It already happened. We're moving on to what is coming, with the rest of our Jamaican athletes. So with that said, the Oslo Diamond League is tomorrow, May the 30th. And I want to do a quick preview as it relates to the athletes because we have a few Jamaican athletes that will be lining up here. So I want to give you all a quick preview as it relates to the events that we'll be in and also how I think our Jamaicans will place. All right, so I want to start with the men's 100 meters. And interestingly, we have Yohan Blake lining up here as well as Rowan Watson. Now, recently, Johan Blake, in my opinion, kind of reignited what many thought would have been the dying embers of his career and ran a 10.16 season's best. He was hovering around those 10.4s all season. And yeah, in one race, pretty much, brought back life or vim and vigor. And a lot of people are starting to now sit up and say, okay, let's see if he'll be able to, make the team in some kind of capacity when he gets to the national championships. So he lines up here on the back of a 10.16. I'm pretty much eager to see what will happen in this particular Oslo Diamond League meeting. Then we also have in the lineup, as I said, Rohan Watson. He has gotten to 10.25. He's been hovering, in those 10.2s all season as well. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get a season's best from him. The thing about Rohan Watson is because he's a new athlete, for me personally, there's not much, to go off or trending to go off that I can look at and say, okay, he's done this in previous years, so I can expect XYZ at the end of the day. So for these type of athletes that are pretty new in the game, professional athletes, I pretty much just watch and see and learn as we go along how these athletes run and how they pretty much progress as the season goes on. So all I know is he's gone 10.25 so far this season, and I'm hoping for a season's best for him. I remember last season he won the national championships running at 9.91 seconds, shocking many. MVP had a few athletes that just came out of nowhere pretty much and, stamped their class and authority at that particular moment. So I'm expecting these athletes, having already gone through that process already, I'm expecting them to be able to get back down to maybe around their personal best, maybe even better, right? So, but still, I'm still learning Ron Watson. So with that said, I'm just watching how this season goes for him. In the race, they have Akani Simbine lining up as well as Abdul Hakim Sani Brown, Lamont Marcel Jacobs. You have Brandon Hicklin, Emmanuel Esime, and Jeremiah Azu. Now, for me personally, I think Akani Simbine is going to take this race. Now, he ran what would have been a world lead, I believe, in the men's 100 meters, but it doesn't count since it was done on that makeshift Adidas track. It is what it is. But I love his form. His form, his execution for me personally looks like Akane Simbine maybe in these latter stages of his career getting to the best he may ever be in the 100 meters, which is interesting. And it's an Olympic year as well. So I'm excited to see what this will amount to for him. He's always been the man that, almost nearly misses, a medal fourth a few times at major championships as well. So I'm sure he's probably looking at this as maybe his last maybe good opportunity to really land himself on the medal table, because as you all know, as the seasons progress, new athletes come about, you know what I mean? So it looks like this year may be his best year yet. So let's see what happens there. But I think this is his race for the taking. We also have some men lining up in this race that will run well on their day. We're talking about Hakim, Abdul Sani Brown. We're talking about Brandon Hicklin, Emmanuel Esime, and of course Jeremiah Azu. Right. So these men will come out, and run pretty well, on their day. But I definitely think that this is Akani Simbine's race for the taking. I'm just hoping to see better performances from Rohan Watson, to be fair, and Johan Blake. Let's see how that materializes for them. All right, now, Chakis, let's move on to the women's 200 meters where Shericka Jackson lines up. Now, a few people were, I noticed, concerned about her first opening run at 22.82 seconds. I guess the concern came from the fact that they're used to Shericka, running close to sub 22s or sub 22s, to start. But for me personally, looking at the athletes and what they're capable of, this 22.8 for me, though wasn't, anything phenomenal by Shericka's own awesome standards, was completely fine. I didn't really have a problem with it, and I'm also not worried based on the time that she ran. I fully expect her to be ready to go super fast by the time the trials rolls around. I did also indicate in a video that, hey, I may not be expecting her to run maybe at 21.5 or 4 at our national championships, but also I do not believe it was necessary at this particular point. And I think strategically, for the athletes that probably don't have to really worry too much about qualifying in a particular event, their target is the Olympic Games, peaking for the Olympic Games. And my opinion is that's what's happening with Shericka Jackson. The peak is timed for the Olympic Games, so we'll see the best of her there. Yeah, so with that said, I had no issue with the run, and she comes up in her second run here. Now she lines up against Marie-José Talu, interestingly. I think she was recently added to this field, so that's interesting. We also have as well, coming off a few good runs, Daryl Nita as well. Jenna Prandini lines up here. Coney is here, as well as Brittany Brown and Navia Battle. How do I think this race is gonna go? Well, first and foremost, Marie-José Talu hasn't run at 200 meters so far this season, but coming out at 10.91 in Kingston, for me, she looked very good. I'm not sure what happened in Eugene in terms of her execution. So there were two athletes in that race where their execution, pretty much didn't give me what I thought it would give me. And one of those athletes was Marie-José Talu, right? But considering how strongly she started over the 100 meters, I definitely think her 200 meters is top tier, even if she hasn't run it, on the circuit so far this season. And of course, Daryl Nita for me has been looking good, as I said. Plus, you have the American athletes as well in the race. What do I think will happen? Well, hands down, I think this is Shericka's race. I think as she races more, she'll clearly be getting sharper and sharper and faster and faster. And a key note when she opened her season over that 200 meters is that, she was very cold, which she did indicate. So this time could have been much faster than it, indicates here, which indicates that when you look at the times already done in terms of seasons best from these athletes, she's pretty much probably level with the fastest athletes here. So I definitely expect her to come out and win this race. Actually, even if she wasn't level with them, to be fair, I'd still be saying this is Shericka's race just based on her class and quality. She'll be able to up it a level or up it a notch when required, and definitely, walk away with the win. That's my take. So I think this is Shericka's race. It's gonna be interesting to see who takes second, if it's between Daryl Nita and Marie-José Talu. I may go I'm swinging maybe with Daryl Nita simply because Marie-José Talu hasn't opened up over the 200 meters just yet. But she could always come in and run something well over that 200 meters as well. Prandini is always somebody that comes out and gives a good run as well. So I'm interested to see what happens there. Brittany Brown and Aniva Battle have also been in the conversation as well. I think performances kind of fluctuate with these athletes, so it'll be interesting to see what it amounts to at the end of the day. But I think my top three will be Shericka, Daryl Nita, and Marie-José Talu. I think an American may sneak into top three. That's a potential there as well. All right, so that's my take for the 200 meters. Shericka takes the win, hands down. All right, now check is let's move on to the women's 400 meters. And we've had Rochelle Clayton. I'm doing pretty good so far this season over the hurdles. But to be fair, you have the world record holder Sydney McLaughlin-Leveroni that hasn't really touched the event so far this season. She's running everything else, it seems, and killing that, right? So once she gets in, I'm sure these times are going to change up drastically. But until then, Rochelle Clayton is still doing a big one in the women's 400-meter hurdles. And I'm excited to see what will happen for her. One, at trials, and two, clearly at the Paris Olympic Games. She seems on pace to go faster than she's ever gone, which is at 52.81 seconds. We also have Anjanette Knight lining up here, and she has been slowly but surely progressing. She was at 55 in her first race. Now she's down to a 54 from her second outing. Clearly, this season has focused a lot on running, 800 meters, so strengthening herself. So each time she runs, she'll be getting progressively fast, and that's pretty much what we've seen here. So I expect her to also, do another season's best in this particular run as she gets closer to the national championships, where I'm hoping she'll be at her absolute best, and yeah, run a personal best as well, and live up to certain expectations that I see from her. Just watching the type of running style that she has, she very much reminds me of Dalila Mohammed. I think they're training partners as well, right? So there's a lot that I expect from her talent wise, and I'm hoping that it will be able to come to the fore in this 2024 season. Then we have Geneve Russell. No, she's at a 55 seconds so far this season. My only concern with her is that I'm just trying to figure out if that broken bone in her foot is going to affect her to the point where we may not be able to see the best from her this season. But yeah, that's a major concern for me, her having a broken bone in her foot that she's still running with, that she needs to apparently do surgery on. All right, my thoughts in this race, clearly Rochelle Clayton walks away with the win. My expectation as well is to see Anjanette Knight come in with a better or a faster run. Again, she keeps getting fast every time she runs, so I'm expecting that again here. I expect Jamaica to go 1-2 in this race actually. And then it will be interesting to see where Geneve places, if she'll be able to do a season's best here in this particular race. Plus, you also have to be mindful of Anna Richkova as well in this particular field. So those are the athletes that I think will be in top three. We have Rochelle Clayton and Anjanette Knight taking the top two slots. Then I believe Anna Richkova will be someplace there, as well as Geneve Russell. But yeah, let's see how things go. Clearly once the race goes off. All right, so Jackies, that is my thoughts when it comes to the Diamond League for Oslo coming up tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Of course, guys, like the video and of course subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on in the next one. Bye.